far as timing, Corey, I think now is potentially a really good time to consider home purchase.
Well, I would definitely agree. We're starting to see the market shifting. It's been a strong seller's market for last 3 or 4 years or more.
Exactly.
And it's still a good time to sell, but we're starting to see the market come to level or maybe even tilt towards the buyer side where the values just aren't as high. The demand is not what it was a couple of years ago. So now I think you're right. The inventory is still there, but the values are coming down a little bit. So I think it's starting to tip towards the buyers, and a lot of projectionists are starting to say the same thing, is that we're starting to see a little bit of a shift, not heading towards a crash or nothing, but the values are seeking a level, and they might even be tipping towards the buyer. So that's something that's good to talk about.
Yeah, and another thing too, this time of the year, Thanksgiving's around the corner, then you have Christmas. So if you look at it counterintuitive, typically there's a lot of people going out of town, school started, etc. So you might not have as many buyers out bidding on houses, and then maybe you can get the seller to pay some closing costs, or your buyer can get in for minimal or no money out of pocket. And lastly, what I might mention to you is interest rates. Interest rates are amazingly low right now. At this time last year, Corey, I was quoting around 5.5%. I think interest rates are artificially kind of low right now, and it has to do with some of the trade issues and tariffs. And so once an agreement is potentially reached, all the experts are saying rates are going to go back up. But we're looking at interest rates in potentially the high 3s and low 4s right now.
Oh, wow.
It's just crazy. There's only been one other time in 34 years that I've seen rates as low as they are right now. But they did start to trend back up a little bit last week. So hopefully that it's leveled off and they'll stay where they are, or maybe they'll go back down. But this is really one of the unique times right now to purchase just from an interest rate perspective. When I bought my first house back in 1987, I was literally doing cartwheels to get 9.5% on the interest rate. When I got in the industry, interest rates were 14.5%. In October of 1981, interest rates were 18.5%. So if you look at the big picture and the interest rates you can get right now, it's a great time to seriously consider becoming a homeowner.
That's great. Those are all great points, Jamie, and I think the way you put it was very well articulated and certainly logical. It all makes perfect sense. So, well, guys, I hope we were able to answer at least a couple of your questions, or at least get the question train running, because sometimes you don't even know what questions you have until you start thinking about it, and then you start having questions. So my information is listed in the description, and I'll have Jamie's information listed in there as well. Please feel free to reach out to either one of us. I'm always happy to help, and if you call me and you got a lending question, I'm just going to refer you to Jamie. So, because he's the guy I trust and he's the guy I know will do a great job. So, Jamie Hodge from Guild Mortgage, thank you so much again for joining us. We really appreciate it. I always appreciate hearing what you have to say, because it reinforces what I get to tell my clients and reinforce my business. So I really appreciate you sharing it with us. I appreciate you sharing it with our folks here, and we'll do this again real soon.
Corey, it's a pleasure, and you did a fantastic job. There's not anybody that works harder for their clients than you and represents them, so just keep up the great work.
Well, I appreciate the comments, Jamie. I really do. So, Jamie Hodge, Guild Mortgage, Corey Harris, Beth White Harris Real Estate Group in Arlington.